Welcome to Two Open Doors, the podcast that explores our power to open or close the doors of relationship with the important people in our lives. We hope you'll learn from and share your wisdom with our community. Thanks for joining us. In earlier episodes of this podcast, we've examined some aspects of the nature of love and of attachment. In this episode, we consider the idea of unconditional love. We take a look at what that might mean, and then we also consider whether adult humans are likely to be capable of giving unconditional love to others. In passing, we also consider how attachment and commitment might fit into our loving relationships. And we also look at interdependence versus independence in mature loving relationships. What is unconditional love? Many people position unconditional love as a virtue, as something that is both desirable to receive and a virtue to give. In the pragmatic, personal gain-oriented world in which we live, unconditional love seems like an ideal worth striving for. Before running with that assumption, though, it might be worth digging a little deeper. Just what is unconditional love? Is it being able to receive acceptance, support, and respect from another, regardless of what we do or how we treat them? Is it a right to love that we earn when we enter into a formal commitment to them, such as in marriage, again, regardless of how we're delivering on that commitment? Is it something that we feel we're due to receive from another simply because of who we are? Or is it something else? Love isn't a legal contract, an arrangement of agreed-upon gives and gets. As we know, it's a feeling that we have for another person, one that predisposes us to feel warmth and acceptance toward them. Those feelings motivate us to then behave in specific ways toward the object of our love, wanting them to prosper and enjoy happiness, wanting to provide material support and gifts to them, wanting to spend time together, providing mutual validation and appreciation. With this understanding of love, let's consider then what it might mean for that love to be unconditional. Let's look at what it takes for love to be healthy. Perhaps our prototype of unconditional love can be found in the love that is experienced between a caring mother and her infant. In most cases, an infant's mother is its primary caregiver, though the father or others might sometimes fill this crucial role. A young child is basically helpless and is dependent upon its caregiver for its very survival. We've noted and investigated this dynamic in earlier episodes of this podcast as we explored the ideas behind attachment theory. A good mother is reliably available to her child, providing reassuring presence when the infant voices its needs for care. We note that here the mother is deemed good in that she does what is needed for the child to thrive, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Such a mother discerns and provides whatever the child needs. As a result of the mother's reliable and effective care, the infant is able to develop secure attachment, which then serves as a launchpad for the child's learning about how to relate to other people, as well as to the surrounding world. The good mother cares for her child without expectation of anything received in return from the child, other than indications of the child's contentment and thriving. This isn't a quid pro quo relationship. Such love is selfless in that it isn't focused on the mother's gratification. It is also genuinely unconditional because the mother's love moves her to provide for her infant's needs without any preconditions or reciprocation from the child. Perhaps no other form of human relationship is as pure and simple as this. Most relationships are conditional. They take the form of some sort of exchange. Let's consider what sort of limitations or conditions apply in most relationships. Let's think about the possible rights of love. For love to be love, something that enhances the well-being and satisfaction of both participants, the giver and the receiver of that love need to both feel that they benefit from it. On the plane of feelings, love can offer acceptance and appreciation, welcome, feeling desired and desirable, and feeling worthy of love. On the physical plane, expressions of love can provide the gift of touch and the satisfaction of physical desire. And on the mental and spiritual plane, it can express and reinforce shared beliefs and perspectives, as well as a deep sense of unity and connection. In a sense, sharing these feelings and these physical, mental, and spiritual connections are rights that those who love give to one another and can expect in return. When we love someone, they can develop trust that our love is not a fickle thing that can disappear unpredictably and without cause. That creates a relaxed, stress-free relationship. The lover can in turn develop trust that his or her love is appreciated and valued by their partner. Such a symmetric relationship feels both nurturing and fair to both partners. So let's think about what love isn't. As we've just observed, love creates a lasting connection that nurtures both loving partners. It comes with a durable trust and caring that flows in both directions. At the same time, the connection that comes with this bond is not something that one partner can demand from the other or that a partner owes the other. It's a freely given gift. Trying to force a connection violates the core nature of love, transforming it into coercion or even the usage of another person for personal satisfaction. Love also isn't the product of a transaction in which each partner agrees to give the other something that's desired. Of course, when we love someone, we want to support them and give them things that bring them delight. But we understand that it's not the things that we give them that induce them to love us. Love can't be bought. We are loved because of who we are and because of how we share life with our partner. There are things that we can do to be lovable. Love is a two-way street. Those who share it must be able to both give and receive love. Those who love need to be capable of being loving by approaching their partner with gifts such as acceptance and validation, affection, respect, trustworthiness, and loyalty, and physical, emotional, and spiritual support. Such generosity of spirit makes one lovable. In addition, though, a lover needs to be able to gracefully and gratefully receive love from their partner. That requires a willingness to communicate honestly and kindly, and a willingness to be vulnerable in order to be deeply known by one's partner. In the image of our two open doors analogy, love flows freely only when both partners are able to open their respective door to one another, to give and to receive love. So now let's turn back to thinking about unconditional love. We've seen that the partners in a loving relationship can expect certain things from one another, such as deep caring, trust, and appreciation. We've also seen that those things are gifts, not something that's owed or which can be demanded. This says something deep about the notion of unconditional love. Simply put, a love that is not reciprocal, or which is forced, or in which either partner feels discounted, unappreciated, or disrespected, will not last. That isn't truly love. Of course, two people can stay locked together in such an asymmetric and dysfunctional relationship, perhaps for decades, but one or both of those partners will suffer rather than prosper. This suggests that love is not unconditional. The conditions for being loved are those that we've described as the rights of love. They're the simple but essential things that breathe life into a relationship. Things such as being treated with love and affection, being able to trust in our partner, having access to loving touch, and feeling safe, respected, and desired. Those conditions need to be satisfied by each partner, or the relationship can be expected to languish and eventually die. What about attachment and commitment? Where do those fit into the equation for love? Are they part of the conditions without which love cannot last? Let's start by proposing a couple of definitions. As we've explored in earlier episodes of this podcast, attachment is a learned emotional connection between two people. It's the basis for the relationship between a mother and infant, and it's essential to the infant's survival. Throughout later life, attachment becomes the glue that underlies all of our deep adult relationships. It's rooted in powerful neurobiological mechanisms, such as the actions of oxytocin and dopamine, that shape our beliefs, expectations, and behaviors in relationships. Commitment operates on a different plane than attachment. A commitment is a mental or cognitive decision to establish and maintain a deep emotional connection with another person. A commitment isn't just a disembodied decision to connect. It is, well, a commitment to provide another person with all of the rights of love that we've described. Note that commitment isn't the same as exclusivity in relationship. We can harbor deep love for a number of special people in our lives. In such cases, though, a giver of love must still have sufficient time and psychic energy to make that love real in the lives of the beloved. With these definitions in hand, let's return to our question of whether and how attachment and commitment relate to love. I suggest that because attachment is based on neurobiological mechanisms that we all possess, it's an inseparable companion to love. If we spend time sharing activities and open-hearted, vulnerable conversation with someone we value, we can expect to develop an attachment to them over time. That is doubly true for connections that entail intimacy and physical sharing, in which oxytocin and dopamine are amply present. In contrast, not all of our loving relationships are committed relationships. We can love people, but consciously decide to commit ourselves only to a few of those. Love isn't always accompanied by commitment, and that's okay. That leads us to consider the notion of interdependence. We've concluded that sharing love with someone requires that both partners give each other the basic rights that come with being loved, but nothing beyond that. Such a love is probably as close to unconditional love as we can come in normal adult life. The situation changes when there's not only love but also mutual commitment. In such a situation, two lovers extend and deepen their connection by consciously agreeing to adjust their individual priorities and goals to accommodate the priorities and goals of their partner. This entails a voluntary reduction of personal liberty and unfettered freedom of choice. In a committed relationship, a partner might make different life choices than what they might elect had they not made a commitment to their partner. Such a relationship is based on interdependence between the partners. They are no longer fully independent. While remaining autonomous individuals, committed partners are also giving birth to a third entity, their jointly created relationship. A reduction in personal liberty might be viewed as a bad and unhealthy thing, especially when viewed from the perspective of our culture's single-minded focus on personal independence. However, the sacrifice of some personal autonomy can come with a large reward in the form of a degree of felt mutual caring and support that is probably impossible to achieve between two fully independent, uncommitted individuals. The idea of two become one describes this melding process. Because of the neurobiology of attachment, the coming together of two loving partners actually alters them individually, even physiologically. In the attachment between mother and infant, it has been observed that as mother and child play and interact, their releases of bonding oxytocin and rewarding dopamine actually become synchronized. They begin to rise and fall in lockstep. Those mechanisms continue to act in us as adults. Thus, it seems reasonable to assume that as they experience their shared life, the partners in a committed relationship deepen their connection and enjoy shared pleasures. In our society, commitment in a partnership usually takes the form of marriage, which is a public social announcement of the couple's commitment to one another. Despite that social norm, though, there's nothing inherent in commitment and its underlying attachment that confines it to existing only within one couple. For those who might have an exceptional desire and capacity for expressing love, such people might choose to deepen their connections by committing themselves to more than one partner. If such an arrangement proves beneficial and satisfying to all partners, that would seem a good thing. Of course, the litmus test is ensuring the benefit of all such connections, just as the test of a good traditional marriage is in seeing both partners thrive within that relationship. So the punchline on our examination of unconditional love is that such a thing doesn't really exist between adults. Sharing love with someone carries some expectations and even responsibilities if it's to truly be a loving relationship. Love isn't just a feeling. It's a feeling that motivates and requires us to treat our beloved a certain way. Healthy emotional attachment can be expected to develop in the course of sharing a loving relationship, especially an intimate one. we may choose to deepen our loving relationships by committing ourselves to a lasting union with our beloved. To learn more about Two Open Doors and to engage with our community, I'd like to invite you to visit the Two Open Doors website at twopendoors.com, as well as the Two Open Doors Facebook group. Finally, I invite you to contact me directly by writing to me at claude@twoopendoors.com. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll use your inputs to guide my work on future blog posts and podcasts. Thanks for visiting Two Open Doors.